for waiting. It is with great pleasure to introduce to you tonight Mr. Dara O'Brien, the host of Mock the Week and stand-up comedian. He will be signing copies of his book, Tickling the English, afterwards in the bar, but before that he's going to be interviewed by my colleague Shane Murray. Dara and Shane, thank you very much. So Dara, your book is called Tickling the English, available from all good booksellers. So you'd like to tell us all a bit of what the book's about and what you came up with the idea for it.
Oh, okay, that's a very straight-back question, thank you very much. I'll ignore it completely, just say it's a great pleasure to be here, thank you very much for coming out. I have always, my background was in university debating, never in a room as august and wood panel as this. You've done a fantastic job on the panelling, and of the photographs of luminaries around the room, if you'd like to be here. The book is called Tickling the English. It is part of tour diary from travelling around the UK in the last couple of years, which as a comedian, we basically see a lot more of the country than you ever will, nor need to see, to be honest. There are places that you never need to go, okay? And if I can make Bridlington and Halifax come alive for you in a way that saves you that journey, then that'll be a small victory. But as well as that, while travelling around, I talk to many people during the gigs, I chat them, I get funny stories often, because I'm a very interactive kind of comedian, and as well as that, I get a chance to have just a bit of a broader look at the English, and this is from someone who's obviously not from here, but is living here now, has been living for about 7 years now, have an English wife and English child. I'm a stakeholder here, I'm commissioner to the country, but still a foreigner here, and you are an interesting people in many ways because of that. Not because of that, but you're an interesting people. Sorry.
No. Well, as you say, the book is in large part about your attempts to get to grips with the English. I was wondering, were you able to find anything about the English that you were able to narrow down and say, this is what makes someone English?
You'd like me to essentially give you the conclusion to the book. Just save us all the effort of either purchasing or bothering to read the book. That's not how the book ends. The book ends with an exciting murder. A late-night dash through the foggy streets of London. And oh no, wait, that's something other. Anyway, but there are it comes because you're not people who are easy to narrow down. Right? This is one of the things. But as a comic, it is unusual to be seated for a start. Is not really the way we generally do this, and also to have you there in the barber position behind me is not really how I like to do my stuff, right? I know how you're enjoying it or not enjoying it, but those four fuckers, who knows? The four women knitting at the guillotine behind me here, God knows if they're liking it or not. I can only pray. But it is, so it's unusual, so I may pop up at some stage occasionally. It is, over the course of you're not an easy nation to narrow down, right? And I say this because all comics, particularly when you start off, right, you develop a kind of an armoury of hack jokes about nations around the world, right? Really cheap, easy laughs that you can get about the French are this, the Irish are that, the Americans are that, like really lame kind of because we all have a shorthand for various nations. Or for, let's say, the top 10 nations in our heads in this particular part of the world, that we have something that we all could, we already know when you say, oh, I met a Frenchman, and your instantly your head goes into a generation of jokes about the French, or a generation of jokes about whomever, right? And it is very easy as a comic, particularly if you're a club comic, if you're working in the genres or the places where there are a number of people, there's a mixed crowd and you're trying to get their attention. If somebody says they're from one of these countries, to come out with your standard boring line about it, like it's a big laugh from everyone. Germans putting towels on beaches is one of these things which I have never observed in my actual life, other than people who, for fuck's sake, you slept in till 3, where we're supposed to wait. But it's one of these comedy tropes, right, that comedians do, right? And you just get tired of doing it. And it got to the stage where, for the sake of argument, I'm going to illustrate this point. There's a thing in the book called the National Characteristics Game, right, which you've seen, right? You'll notice, by the way, you don't get to do much Q to my A, right? Kind of the way I work, right? Seriously, I'm going to stand for a second. This is much more natural in this particular context, right? So, I work out. Anyway, there was a thing on the National Characteristics Game, and by the way, big hello to those watching on a satellite link up from rooms not far away. People think you've forgotten. You may use this may drift out of shot for a second. In fact, even right now, am I out of shot now? Are they just watching my torso spin around the room and they don't have to pull away? There is a thing on the National Characteristics Game, which I used to play on stage, where I would basically get the crowd to shout out those characters, just to show how just presumed and how standardised these things have become, where I would name countries and audiences would shout out, essentially would shout the joke out first for you, right? So I would say the defining characteristics of France, I'll get you to do it, right? Just for the crack, I'll see if you can say the common audiences do. The French are... True that, arrogant, somebody said, and cowards only popped up in the last few years, by the way, that's kind of an American thing, and smelly was the other one that people often said. Americans are fat, always fat, and stupid. They're the two. Now, this narrows comedy down to a remarkably easy job in which you just say, oh, you're an American, yeah, fat, stupid, man, I go, that's what I think too, right? And it makes it very easy, and it's actually a very lazy game to play, right? So I invented, in order to standardise that, I invented a thing called the National Characteristics game, where I would pick countries, or I would get somebody else to pick a country which is out of our, because we have these for a number of countries, the countries we hear about a lot, whether it's France, or Sweden, or the Dutch, or the Irish, right? And I would get somebody to shout out a really obscure country from very, very far away. But before I did, I would get two people, I'll pick yourselves if you're in a leather seat, from presuming that you're, pick a character trait, whether it's ticklish or erudite or something. Can you get one of those in your head? It's not a magic trick, I'm not there, but you use one as well. Some sort of character trait that you have in your head, whether it's agreeable or some mad thing, right? Can you think of one? Think of one. It doesn't have to be crazy, whatever pops in your head. And then I would get like a country that we don't normally talk about, right? Somebody over the back, name a country we don't normally talk about. Togo! Spectacular example. Togo. When bar Adebayor have we ever discussed Togo? He does not paint a flattering picture of the people of Adebayor and their loyalty. But that's it, but people would say, Togo, what do we know of the people of Togo? Who among us can truly tell what the people of Togo are like? What drives them? What pushes them up? What's in their heart at any time? None of us, bar two men. Two men in this room, born in so with fear of contradiction, are able to tell me that the people of Togo are bad-tempered and violent. That example, you didn't really differ. I'm not sure if there's some sort of symmetry about it. But then, you do that 2 or 3 times. I'll not do them all because you presumably have shit written out you want to ask, right? And you get various examples, and some of them are very, like, the best one we ever got was the people of Fiji are well-read and promiscuous. As a pen picture of a nation is a fantastic thing, you know. Just the notion of them going, I'm sorry, is that the new AS Bias? It is. Let's go to bed. It's a very, very nice kind of image of it, and at least you'd want to visit, right? But the point of the whole routine was that at the end of it, after I'd done a number of these, right, I would then be off talking about something else, and I would say, do you know what? In about 10 years' time, 5 years' time, you'll be watching the news, and a story will come out about the government do this, or there's a strike in this public service, or somebody said that, and all through the news, you'll be watching it, and then there'll be an item near the end. And I previously you probably wouldn't know anything about it, but it'll pop up, and there'll be an item about how there's a civil war in Togo. And somewhere deep down inside, you don't know where this came from. You will hear the news of the civil war in Togo go, typically, serve them right, the bad-tempered violent. So the point of the routine, right, was to basically use back at all these titles we put on people of different nations are arbitrary, right? We like them, they win out little battles, and they become like the thing we affix to certain nationalities, right? The one thing, the twist in this was, though, and it's a fantastic satirical point, and you will have noticed that since I started doing that routine, there has been no more racism. But as well as that, the one thing about it was, and this is where it comes into it, when I asked the English, when I asked what is the English, there was no one term that came forward. You know no more than I do have a shorthand for yourself. Right? You are a large, diverse nation, and there are certain terms that keep popping up: fair play and tolerance, and these things which are frankly human traits rather than English traits. Right? There are a lot of places to be fair play and tolerant, and people may be better than yourself. Right? But there is these kinds of an actual genuine shorthand for the English. You don't have them any more than I did, and that became among the basis for the journey of the book. But now we have another question.
Well, a lot of the rest of the book, as you say, is about touring in England, and for a lot of time we talk about why it's so special to tour in England.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about that.
Very simply, right, and from a seated position, you have been gifted. Now, you should be aware of this because of the privileges that you have and the position you're in. You're in a beautiful room, there's books of history here, the still have been taken, and most countries don't have this, for example. And an equivalent of this applies in most town centres. I'm not sure. You're presumably from all over the country, and indeed possibly from all over the world. England was gifted a leisure infrastructure by the Victorians, which was unparalleled across the world, right? Phenomenally. In every town in England, there are theatres, right? At one stage, I think there were like 4,000 theatres national. I've forgotten the exact figures, but it's all in there. There was a lot of... because they built the racetracks, and they built the football stadiums, and they devised sports, and they basically invented, for the most part, and the line I have in the book is bar Quasar, they invented all leisure time activities, right? Quasar and Doom are the only things we've added since that the Victorians essentially didn't do. Theatres are one of those. There are theatres in every town in this country, in a way that there aren't in Ireland, and there isn't that same structure, certainly in America or in Australia or France. There are some, but you have them from Dorking to Woking to Kings Lynn to Sevenoaks, and you could do a tour just going around the M25. You have phenomenal, and some of them are beautiful old Victorian buildings, and you have this incredible infrastructure. So if you're a comedian, this is one of the countries in the world you want to play, because there are places where you can speak and you all come out. So yes, it's a love letter as well, just to that, which you do very, very well. Sorry.
So the other thing, as you were saying just before and as you've just demonstrated, is that a lot of your comedy relies on audience participation.
Indeed it does.
And I was wondering, is there any particular regions or anywhere that does it better for...
Right, obvious contention, because given that I presume you are from everywhere, am I right in saying that is that how do I exactly play the numbers game here so as not to alienate the greater number of people? The funnier crowds, there are a number of laws for this, and this is in the book. There are first law, there are second law, there are third law. Right? Anywhere that has an identity is generally funnier than a place that doesn't, and by identity, basically, I mean has a football team. So if you're from Glasgow, you have a strong sense of Glasgow being represented on the national stage, and when you ask the people in the audience a question, they respond subconsciously on behalf of Glasgow. Right? Whether they like it or not, they know that they are representing the entire city. Right? I know it sounds like that bullshit thing that people, American bands do, where they go, hello, Cleveland, right? It's not that quite that, but there is an element of that to it. Yeah, and then places like so smaller towns, and certainly suburban towns, and I would take a guess that some of you your families probably live in those towns which ring London and are well-to-do commuter towns, and that. Those are the worst fucking places in the world for comedy, right? The burbs are a nightmare, right? Because basically, there where you go on the end of your journey, right? There where you go when you've no more curiosity left. Whereas the north of England, I was reading from the north of England, and drawing a line basically from Nottingham, Derby, up all the way from there, right? You're the winners. North of England are just more informal, more relaxed, and have more interesting jobs. Just something about audience members. Audiences, as a rule, like to hear from people. When I go, what do you do for a living? And that sounds terribly hack, but it's a very natural kind of thing to say to somebody. What do you do for a living? They want to hear a job that they've heard about, like whether it's a candlestick maker or a butcher or a baker or something like that. They don't want to hear, I work in database management for a finance house. Nobody gives a shit about that. You're looking for the more bizarre job. You're looking for a fireman, basically. You're looking for an astronaut. You're looking for a whelk fisherman. You're looking for something you can turn into an 8-year-old and ask questions of, right? That's kind of what you want in an audience member. And you just tend to get them up north rather than down south. Right? There are various reasons for that. But that's the main thing. You win. You specifically. That guy there. He is the winner of the room tonight. No, you've lost it there. How thin that line is. So.
Obviously, the other part of the book is about being Irish in England, and I was wondering if you could tell us, is there one big difference between the Irish and the English?
Probably the dominant difference between the Irish and the English is that we didn't invade you. Whereas, no, listen, we can cast off the dark cloud of history. Surely it's time. It informs us. There are a number of differences. The Irish are very interested in other Irish people in the way that the English are not interested in other English people. The Irish are very informal and will talk to each other in the way that the English are not. Neither country can drink half as well as it thinks it can. And I particularly mean the young people who get hammered and go, oh, you're a fucking legend, man. Throw their arms around it. And there are a number of them. The book bizarrely doesn't really, I suppose, mention that, what we in Ireland like to call the awkwardness. Because at the height of the awkwardness, things are terribly awkward. But I don't really make that. It's not even there as a backdrop to it all. But there is there is, I think, an informality to us that the English don't have. which I think is an issue. I mean, maybe because you're a massive country. The one huge thing is that England is a country which is enormously successful and refuses to admit it, and would hate anyone to think they're enormously successful. And so you do loads of stuff there, like incredible stuff. I mean, we're looking at your major universities, your media. You host Olympics, right? You're on a world scale of things, right? There's an entire chapter in the book called "You're About Fifth." Right? And in all the major indices, England's about fifth, right? Or England or Britain is about fifth, but yet you think you're in a terminal decline. And you have this crippling, nostalgic, oh my God, things used to be great in this country, and now look at it, it's gone to shit, right? Whereas Ireland doesn't have that. Ireland is a small country that punches above its weight because we talk ourselves up, right? And even though we, at the moment, are going through a hideously bad recession that was much worse than the recession here, we're still quite chipper about the whole thing, whereas here, you think you deserved it. Well, you know... So, yeah, there are a number of other differences.
So the last question I wanted to do for this is,
yes.
Because both my parents are Irish and they've lived here for 25 years now. But whenever we go back to visit relatives, I almost did it there myself, they call Ireland home. Would you say that Ireland is your home or that England is your home now?
Contentiously, there is a point in the book where I make it. There's a good number of missions. I didn't think it was particularly interesting to write a book in which I wasn't able to show myself up to be a fucking idiot sometimes. Right? And one of them is that I got out a DVD last year that had a gig in London and a gig in Dublin. The gig in Dublin was like an extra that we did, and we locked off the camera, and we was me messing around with an Irish audience. Right? And it's a very different crowd, a very different show. Right? But in both of those gigs, I said, "Hey, it's great to be home." Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it is. That is really fucking vulgar. That's slick like a politician. Ireland is where I'm from, but England is where my wife and daughter live. So England becomes home. That's the way that works. It's great. So, you know, that is, you know, when I look for something to look forward to go back, I know I can. It's great. It's cute. Do you want to see a photograph of her? It's stunning. Like a year and a half. It's fantastic. I got a whole set of material that I'm trying to do. There's nothing to do. Right? Material that I'm trying to do about having a kid. But you have to be really careful. There's nothing to do with the book. I just want to workshop some stuff. I want to have a kid. You have to be really careful because people think it's really sentimental and mawkish, right? And the best joke I have about her is the fact that Hugh Dennis pointed out to me. We were on Mock the Week last time. On the last Mock the Week, we were discussing the fact that my cats are addicted to heroin. Kind of had to see that particular episode where we were discussing my cats being on heroin and how they really want to do cocaine and all that kind of stuff. And Hugh, who knows that I have a little kid, said, "So what are your cats called?" And I told him, he said, "Oh, great, so now we know what your daughter's porn name is." Are you familiar with that? Yeah, that wrecks your fucking head, doesn't it? My 1.5-year-old daughter has a porn name that I have unfortunately inadvertently given her, right? You are familiar with the concept of the porn name? Yeah, of course you are. For those of you not, it's your family pet and your mother's maiden name. And you don't think when you're naming the cats that your child, your cherished child, will be 20 in a nightclub and have to go, "Yeah, I'm Tibbles Murphy," or whatever. Actually, the cat's not called Tibbles, it's called Hot Cock. But it's a work in progress. Anyway, sorry. So yes, that becomes home rather than, you know, where... You know, just hanging on to a flag is a dangerous thing. Hanging on to, there's a whole chapter about "I will love my English child," which was a routine I did for a number of years, where I basically got used to the idea because there's a baggage that we all have. I mean, were you raised Irish or English? Was there a thing?
It was kind of a little bit confused.
Okay.
Me and my brothers all support Ireland in rugby and football.
Okay, interesting. Right,
but I'll support England in the World Cup as well.
Yeah, okay, as well. Oh, how kind. How big of you. I've taken another... And you do actually form... It's an identity issue. You have to take a formal decision at some stage going, well, which way am I going to go on this? My own view is like that was my life, and I'm very deeply proud of being Irish. I speak the language, and I go back, and I love it and all that. But there's another life here, and that life isn't... I'm not raising them in a holding pattern, as if at some stage we're going to go back. And I did a whole routine, which basically was about my then imaginary child, saying that I never pointed my imaginary child as if they had an asterisk above their head, where I went, "I love you, but," and you check at the bottom of the page, "You shouldn't have invaded Ireland for 800 years. At some stage, that baggage, I think, has to be dumped. So.
Okay, well, I think we'll end the formal...
Oh, that's formal. Okay. How formal was that? Okay, and does it bounce to the floor?
Yes.
Fantastic. Very good.
Would anyone like to give Dara a question?
Wow, excellent. How are you?
Hello. Yes. I was just wondering, would you ever consider standing as a politician? And if you did, what would your policies be?
Oh, wow. The awkwardness, well, if you're standing, that's not standing. No, because I once ran an election in college for the equivalent of this in Dublin, for the Literary Historical Society. Lost and then sneaked my way into running for a year and a half later, and just left, right? And I hated it as a process. I absolutely loathed it as a process. Even though I, as a rule, as a comedian, I'm kind of now confused as to why you're standing. Oh, I think you should be there. I think it's great. I've never been in a double act before. Or is it that you expect somebody, you say like, you know, who's at the end of the Lewis? Is somebody going to punch me during the sign? And you would stop the punch. Good to have you here. Always here. You keep vigilant. Yeah. Eagles on the move. No, where I stand on it, you know, that's presumably, you know, at the moment, I don't know, the whole, you know, I'd be probably soft left like a lot of people, but irritated, but do you think that 3 terms seems to have spent that particular government have any idea? So either they fling them all out and try to stick another group up for election, or it's going to go the other way. It is going in front of the public is a very awkward thing in that regard. You're on your own terms as a comedian, and because you come to hear jokes and stories, and I can do that, like whatever. But a lot of the gigs that you enjoy or not enjoy a comedy are the ones you enjoy. The ones where the audience come to you. You enjoy far less the ones where you have to go to the audience. By which I mean you have to go, God, what do they want to hear? I'm sure as a politician, even though I like debating and I like arguing, it's actually weird enough. I could be more honest and speak with greater freedom doing this than I would if I was a politician, which is probably an appalling reflection on how I or politics work. But it's intriguing. By the way, it's debaters, why did you get Griffith? No, obviously, yes, terribly. And I'm not saying that anybody going to secretly, I thought, but how badly, just as a debater, did he do it? How enormously, ineptly did he perform on the night? Like, just someone who does public speaking, what the fuck was he expecting? Just to go, Nick, good to have you here. What's your first song that you've done? How much of an easy ride to go down and go, oh, they all pick, woohoo, welcome to the big boys game, right? We're much tougher than that on Walking Week, and we don't get comics going, oh, they all picked on me. I mean, the only literally do pick on them. But it's not a point in that stuff. But it's an intriguing game for me, but I wouldn't actually go and, I don't know if I'd have I don't have been brave enough to stick my name in the ballot paper. Yes?
What do you do if you're having a bad night?
You carry on. There is no kind of, you develop a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. As you can do comedy longer, you know that you can just go into auto-talk and then you can turn on, you can try to do other stuff. You shake yourself up. There is a kick in the arse again. If you do a tour where you go 105 different nights, right, it does at some stage turn into a job, right? It does at some stage, you're like, well, here we are again, and you can't stop yourself in your head going, this isn't as much fun as Leeds was yesterday, or, you know, Carlisle was the night before, and it's tough to shake that. I mean, there is a section in the book where I was in St Albans, right? And St Albans was a very, very bad gig, and it just wasn't going well, and I wasn't enjoying it at all. And the guy who was with me, when I came in, said, listen, I know this is shite. And he goes, yeah, I know, but the Times are in tonight, and this is your major national review that you're going to get, and you have to get over it. You know, there is a thing that you do, which is very obvious here when I see all your faces. You are aware of your responsibility. Like, I'm aware, there's a clock in my head going, there's been a laugh for a few minutes. And this is the context where they're quite relaxing. I don't feel that I have to be, here's a one-liner. But you are aware that you have a responsibility. Sometimes you look out through the curtain before the show's not, put your head up, just look through a small gap, and you see 2,000 people walking in. Just to scare the shit out of yourself. And that's what you do if you're having fun. You can't back out, so there's nice you don't enjoy, but you hope they don't spot it. And you have to carry on. There's no real issue. Sorry. Who next? Do I ever watch myself on Dave? I'm very rarely off. That causes some problems. I skip past it quite quickly because it comes up in that electronic program guide where you flick, and you go, oh, Mark the Week, I wonder if I'm on that. For QI, no, I don't, because I'm fatter and younger or doing old jokes. I don't, as a rule, no, you don't bask in it. Because you know the stuff you didn't say, or some of the stand-up sets I might watch back. But no, Dave really whispered, but man, they just got over the top. Just a tiny bit too much. That's right. Yourself.
Is there any one place in England you'd hate to go back to?
No, I'm not being taken. I'm trying to think. There isn't one. The weird thing is, I hated Nottingham for 2 years, and then went back to Nottingham and it was brilliant. It often depends on the type of room. Even though it'll be a funny night, there are problems with the corn exchange here. Here, not saying I'm already booked in for a house in the year, but there's a sound problem, which means there's a small pocket in the corn exchange that can't hear you, which is the weirdest thing, because they leave notes on the stage going, we can't hear you. And no, it's a corn exchange. It is weird to ride, but there are rooms which are built for the exchange of corn, and they would never go through. The more bizarre one, there's one of these, in Newcastle is this, Reading is this, Aberdeen is this, there's a number of rooms in which you walk out and there's a pipe organ behind, like a giant, full-on pipe organ, and you go, oh no, this is a room where Protestants talk to you about sin. What am I doing here? So certain rooms fall in and out of favour, and you get nervous about going back. You generally go back because that's your job. Yeah, there isn't still like, I'm not enormously looking forward to King's Inn St Albans, Dorking, Woking, and some of those, but they'll surprise you. They always do. Sorry, let's go back with a hand up. Yes, yeah.
Have you met any more local kids?
No, I've never met another Milky Bar kid, which is really irritating. Really, and I'm not even sure if that guy actually was a Milky Bar kid. I wanted to ring him for an EVDS an interview, but he wouldn't. He was being very coy about the whole thing, and I kind of got bored of it. And the last thing I wanted to do was him go, no. The better one was the best one of the last one was the violent guy. There was a story in the last tour I did. This is actually nothing, but that's the story. That's not my story. I was in the last tour. I asked people about crime, and I said, "Have you ever interrupted a crime?" And I thought this may or may not work. This may people. Sometimes it's different. In Aberdeen, I always said I once saw a smelly man. I interrupted a smelly man trying to rape a prostitute. You're like, okay, that's kind of ruined the mood. But in Warwick Arts Centre in Coventry, I said, any interrupted a crime. The very first night I did it, and the man goes and raised his hand, and I said, all right, what was it? And he goes, I was walking home, and there was a man trying to break into my wife's car. And I said, oh really? Wow, what did you do? And he said, well, I roared shout at the man. And so he locked himself in the car. So now there's a standoff where there's a man in the car and I'm outside the car and I'm shouting and roaring. I go, oh my God, that's quite entertaining. What did you do then? And your man goes, I punched in the window, dragged him out of the car, pulled him into that house and tied him to a chair. At which point, I'm looking at the man in a kind of a, he was fucking light, yeah. Because it's turned into a Reservoir Dogs style standoff. Right? So I'm looking at the man in kind of a, so is there anything funny about this particular situation? And your man looks at me in a genuine kind of a, raises his hand, hello, how are you? Raises his hand in the kind of a, no, this is the best bit. Kind of like he's on Parkinson's. Like, oh, no, this is the best bit. Goes that, look. The funny thing was, I asked my wife to fetch me a meat cleaver, and she came back with a carving knife, and genuinely said it. I know the little feather head, oh, I know I'm doing it all the time. As if he'd stood there, cutting away your man's ear, looking at his wife going, am I cleaving? This is like cleaving, going carving. Oh, now you see the difference. No, not him, but he topped that. Like the lady there. How did you do that? Ledge bag. Legend is a massive adjective in Ireland, right? I mean, legend is that Will Smith film really confused the folk. If you were expecting a scene where he stood in a deserted New York going, I'm a fucking legend, man! I really was left, like, I'm a legend! The ledge bag, I'm not here.
I was thinking he was kind of part of this wave of other Irish comedians, such as like Ed Byrne and, Dylan Moore.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel rivalry, or are you kind of all together in this snarky Navan accent brotherhood?
I can stand for general comedians feel rivalry. No, only to those who are enormously successful. No, I get on very well. Ed and I were both best men until his wedding. We're very good mates. Dylan, like, Jesus, same thing. The wedding that led to the child. Really, it's just the most mawkish crowd. And they're all, it's so beautiful. It's like Up or something. Going very wrong. Have you seen Up? Because if you've got rope here with the fact that I have a fucking kid, that's going to slay you. group of people. Comedians are very good fun. Comedians are a lot of fun to hang around with, to be honest. We're generally fairly gas parties, we can talk, we've got stories, and we like hanging out together, right? Dylan is off in Edinburgh, we don't really see him that often. Dylan is slightly older, slightly older, says that he was, got married years before we did, and is up in Edinburgh. We don't see him that often. So on specifics, not so much. But we've all got hammered with each other. If you have any aspirations of being a comedian, I cannot recommend it enough as a thing to do with your life. Not just because it's rewarding, it's a fantastic sense of of being in control of your own destiny in terms of what you say and how you're perceived on stage and all that kind of stuff, but you get to hang out with other comics in nightclubs and bars for your entire 20s, just getting hammered and flirting with, essentially telling jokes to a crowd and then going out flirting with the crowd afterwards. It is just fucking magic, right? So any of this notion that comedians are depressed is a lazy journalism stereotype because they're so intrigued by the notion of, well, he tells jokes, but he's not telling jokes now. Oh my God, the poignancy of that irony. How does that work? How do you equate? Possibly equate the two things, right? Comedians are gassy. We generally get on very, very, very well, right? So we're good mates together. Not to say that we don't bitch like fuck about each other, right? We're appalled. Like McIntyre at the moment is getting no end of abuse from McIntyre from the rest of us because of his sudden ascent into, godlike status in the population. That kind of stuff. We work out whether a joke works better by putting Jimmy Carr or Michael McIntyre. Sat with Lee Mac on the street working out. So we do bitch a lot about each other, but generally, in a relatively affectionate kind of way. You're set up. I haven't had much of a chance yet to miss him. He's not around, is he? Oh, there's on. Looks very like Frankie Boy. How are you? That's quite funny. It's amazing how much you all can't see that. That's not just me. Constantly over my shoulder, I can see Frankie Boy scouting. I'm ready to launch into some fucking Terry Katona rape joke. That was actually his nickname on the show, was Rapey McTaggart. What we used to call Frankie. I haven't had a chance to miss again. We will, of course, but it's a show at 7 o'clock. It's a show at 7 comics, so I'd imagine the move. It might change in tone, mockery slightly. That may not be a bad thing, that it might be slightly less rapey than it previously was. But it's still going to be 7 comics, and if Buzzcocks can move on with 3 comics on, I believe. It's a dogfight to get your stuff in anyway as it is, so it could be an interesting journey. The lady at the back by the window. Because I recognise that broad Wexford accent. Yeah. Do you know, I've not really been following it, I have to say. X Factor used to be kind of a guilty pleasure when the auditions weren't cringingly embarrassing to watch, like what this year when they turned them into essentially a public humiliation. We just turned it on and went, oh, this is fucking horrendous, I don't know what to do. So we switched off, and the news is filtered through about Jedward or whatever the fuck it is. The two of them, they have quips like, murderers and stuff. And they were really, and they're very bad. It's not the general gist of it. No, I can't claim to be enormously proud that this is, because there will be an entire mainstream audience who think that that's Ireland. And see, we have those shows in Ireland. As you know, being from Ireland, we have those shows in Ireland. And if they didn't get onto those, because the standard is obviously 1/15 in Ireland of the ones here, if they didn't manage to get onto them, if they were expelled from Ireland, we're not happy to see them doing well over here. No, I haven't thought enough of them, to be honest, to really judge it. That man up there.
Yeah, I've got 2 questions, that's fine.
Oh, that's fine.
First one is, how scripted is Mock the Week? And also, out of the celebrities that you've met, which ones do you hate the most and why?
The second one to do is how scripted. It's not scripted in the sense that there's a script, but I would presume, and I don't think I'm blowing the gap on anything here, for all these shows, if you don't go into that room with some bullets in the gun, if you don't have an idea of stuff you'd like to say, because it's news stories, it's stuff about the news, right? The idea is that everyone comes in with stuff and then we ditch it, and then we kind of react to what's going on, right? So there is an element of people going in, because it's 2.5 hours of stuff that we do. So yeah, there is a sort of, not formally, but like, heads up, we're fucking probably talking about Cameron this week, have a fucking think in the next 6 days, right? About stuff. Certainly you'd be mad I've been on ones where they actually foolishly presume we'll just put them in the room and on the moment we'll ask them stuff like, and it's genuinely, we're talented performers and we have very, very good performers. None of these shows work without there being some element of people just getting their head around stuff, whether formally or not. So I don't think shattering anyone's illusions there, because frankly, it still doesn't mean that anyone could do it. But there is an element of people I'd like to think come in ready to armed with something for it, and then hopefully we can ditch it as it goes on. And hopefully the mixture of stuff turns to we get better stuff from that. Who have I hated? Famously, Anthony Boyle Thompson was a prick. Highest order was a bit of an arsehole to me. Who do I not like? Sorry, it's not really shyness or any kind of political thing. Anne Robinson, it's just duff. It's a bit one trick. But I don't really have a major problem. I know she's fine. It's disarming to meet them and they're all right. You go, I call you bollocks. Who should I hate? Who's Clarkson is duff philosophically on many, many levels. And if when you immediately talk to me about Clarkson, and I get the impression that when I met him that he had no issue about walk and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe not so. We don't really have energy towards them. And the shows are beautifully a very tightly scripted, excellently made piece of television. So you kind of curse him for that. But politically, yeah, he's all over the fucking shop. Anyone else? Joe Grant's a sweetheart. Joe Grant's really, really nice. Very, very good. Listen, I have two. I never said I hate them. I envy him, voices of the nation he's got, but I don't hate them. No, he's all right. But Joe Grant is generally a very sweet person. Yeah, she's very, very nice. What was the other question? Sorry, I've kind of stolen your gig. Is that okay? Do you mind? Am I being rude? I am being rude, aren't I? Can I go and pick one out? Because I'll say, no, it's got. Now it feels like I'm patronising it. Please, I'm sorry. There is no way around this that isn't a minefield of my own creation. Anyway, sorry. Chill out, you're in a good chair. Man with the front pair. Sorry.
Are there any people or sectors in society which you steer clear of in your comedy out of fear?
Is it topics or
people?
Or do you just mean Muslims? Comedians are often asked this question in a slightly less veiled way. Basically, there's a guy, a horrible guy from the Christian Action Alliance, Christian Aid, who keeps bringing up the topic going, well, you talk about the Bible, but you wouldn't say the same thing about the Quran. And the general reason that comedians, like myself, don't say anything about the Quran is because I know nothing about the Quran, and neither do you, right? Whereas I'm guessing the majority of you will have been forced to have learned something from the Bible, right? There is a line that Muhammad Ali said, I remember what he said, which is, on this reported speech, he said, no Viet Cong ever called me nigger. Have you heard that quote ever? The Muhammad Ali quote when he refused to go to fight in Vietnam, and there's the actual quote he said. I'm not saying it's the same level, but no Muslim ever made me get up every Sunday morning and sit in a cold room in uncomfortable clothes listening to bullshit. The other line is no Muslim ever made me give up sweets. 49. Okay. So you object and you do your stuff from the heart about the stuff that you know most about. Are there other topics? Would I not do a joke about amputees, war amputees, for example, which we're talking about at the moment? I don't have a particular joke about that. The stuff I do is usually more about stories that have happened to me. I don't think things are off limits per se. That's the important thing. I think that comedy is a form of speech, and in speech, we have to be grown up about this. There has to be room for ambiguity, there has to be room for double meaning, there has to be room for topics to be addressed like mature adults. A lot of the time when comedy is assaulted, and where people give out of comedy, people have a tendency to write things out in the papers, literally, and go, this is literally what he said. And if we are to retain the right, which we desperately enjoy, of saying, oh, the Americans, they don't get sarcasm, which a lot of people say, particularly I love saying this, right? All the Americans, they don't get irony, they don't get sarcasm, right? We can't have scandals every so often where you write out the word literally, and you go, this is literally what the guy meant when he said this. Comedy is a complex thing, because just like speech is complex, and it's not going to mean the same thing to everyone. And if we start prescribing it, then we start lopping off stuff. I'm not a particularly contentious comic myself personally on many topics like whatever. That's just not the direction my brain goes in, right? That's just the way it works. You find your voice and you go with it. I'm not Jimmy Carr or Frankie Boyle. But it does mean I would defend their right to talk about stuff and defend the right of them to say things that some people won't like. But at the moment, we're in the atmosphere at the moment, since Brandon Ross, is that people have a tendency to get very tense about stuff and get very angry in specific ways about stuff that is just reported speech. And if you strip away the delivery, if you strip away the content, if you strip away the fact that it could be said sarcastically, ironically, or in an arch way, then it's pointless. You know, they're not mathematical formulae right now here. They're not there to be written in chalk on a board. And so that's the usual. Sorry.
Is there anything you missed about Ireland?
Yeah, books and things like this. I missed the All-Ireland Curling Final. I would miss Ireland a lot more if I wasn't back constantly. If I hadn't just come back for 2 weeks of doing. One thing I particularly miss is that there's a lot less kind of swine flu and coughing illnesses in Ireland than there are in this fucking room. What is... And it's just kicked off. It is suddenly turned into a shot from a montage sequence at the start of a movie about a zombie war, right? Suddenly the coughing has just gotten a lot more... there's a lot more going around. And I try to be drowned out at some stage. And then somebody goes, blood from my eye! And then we run out of it, and then all of a sudden we're clawing at each other's skin and we're climbing to get out. And this is how it all began, right? So, as opposed to up, where there's a house with balloons. Oh, it's so lovely, and then there's tears on the old man. Anyway, buckets of stuff. I'm back all the time. I'm back next week, I'm back the week after that. So it's not like I ever get that much chance to miss it, but it's a fantastic country. When we went over to the BBC to do Three Men in a Boat, the current one is in Ireland, where we go from, you started again, no fucking spores. Where we went from Dublin, across to Limerick, and out the Aran Islands, all the way canals over that. They were stunned by just how informal and friendly the whole place was. And it is great. It's fantastic. It's a fabulous place. Just, this is a playground. If you're a comedian, England is a playground. And this is where you want to be. There's yourself.
I have 2 questions.
No problem at all.
When you're writing material, is it something that comes in flashes of inspiration, or do you allocate time to writing it like writing a book? And also, has there ever been a time in your life when you've kind of lost it and just kind of completely dry spell?
Yeah, absolutely. For all I know, this is not my try to put in the middle of it at the moment because I'm writing a new show. Every show you start as a comedian, you start from nothing and you start building up from there, right? And you start because you've got to start. You start doing little rooms and you've got to try a sheet of paper with stuff. Yeah, you sit in a room. You sit in a room and you get drunk on your own and you think of ideas. Genuinely, how it works. You've got a couple of glasses of wine to loosen yourself up, and then you start reacting to yourself because you're kind of slightly out of it. And that lasts for 2 bottles of wine. And you go, and then by glass of wine number 5 and into glass of wine number 6, you're just fucking hammered, right? And you're sitting in a room going, I used to be so funny, and I'm not funny anymore. And then you get maudlin, and then you go, but you put balloons on the house, and the tears start coming out, and it's just really sad, right? So yeah, it is tough every time you start. I'm currently head wrecked because I don't know where to take the new show. I don't know what to do with the show that I'll tour in 2 months' time, because I don't know what topics or what direction to take it in, and that's always petrifying. All comedians presume that it's, rather than it being a skill or technique you learn to do, it's a well, and you go to the well, and you put your bucket in, and you take the funny stuff out of the well. And we all think, I had this conversation with Chris Addison during the year, we all think that a point comes where you lower the bucket down, and you hear a clunk, where there's no more funny left in the well, and you should just stop at that stage and walk off. I don't know if it does. Maybe that is the case. Maybe I'm going to hit that now. But it is. I think it's definitely the case. It can get tougher at times, depending on what topic. You know, whether you find a thing to be angry about is a good trick. Something that you really get past. Last time it was about homeopathy and alternative medicine, which I am furious about and regard as being one of the great sins of our time. People fucking selling you sugar cubes and water and telling you it's medicine. It just drives me up the wall. I'm not a pony. Right? Yeah. So you find something like that, but it is, it doesn't get any, in some ways it doesn't get any easier. Was that both questions answered in one? Yeah, kind of a great. Sorry. How we do for time, by the way?
I think we're right over. How many?
You just shout, right? You bark, right? Okay. Slump in your chair as if your lungs are finally given out. But when I don't have been to comedy, I'd call it something not dissimilar to comedy, probably, because I did theoretical physics as a degree, and I don't know anyone here, is anyone who's studying maths or physics, that kind of stuff, yeah, how are you? You're the new winner. And I did that, but I was never good enough to really to show that, and I love doing this, and I would have possibly in the bar, more likely broadcasting, doing something, but it's just, you know, if this is what You know, if you've got a nursery this, like you can't fight it, you know, it's just, there's a joy and there's no nerves no, seriously, get some more for him. Yeah, so it's just, you know, if you want to be sounding from a person, if you find the kind of person who can't be in a room like this and sit down, which is what we do the last while, then yeah, then I'm probably doing the right thing. Sorry, you're such a...
What's the most off-putting thing that a crowd can do?
The most off-putting, there's a thing actually in the book, right, which I feel I failed to mention sufficiently. Right? The most off-putting was in Sheffield, where they didn't want to answer questions. And that's really irritating. Right? Because a lot of shows does that, it's a skill you want to show off, or go and do that, and say, hey, what do you do? And they all puckered up. Like, there were 2,000 people who, and they all clammed up with it. I can't, he's asking us questions? And they stood staring at me for 45 minutes. I did stuff, like I've got jokes, I did told stories, but anytime I tried to then break out of that into, but then of course, you, look, they just, like that, right? And I walked off stage, go to the guy, my tour manager was there already going, I know, it's fucking weird, right? And it was genuine, and there's a long thing about what it's like to die on stage, and that was the closest this particular tour came to, just a set feeling of panic and going, oh my god, what do I do in this situation? Because they're not playing the game, right? And I was talking to my manager afterwards, and he goes, but you've not played here before. They weren't expecting that. They weren't expecting you to immediately burst out and start going, you, right? And they'd no idea what to do. So they stood in silence, staring at me, genuinely like rabbits in the headlight. There were 2,000 rabbits in the theatre, and I'm like a truck bearing down, and then just staring at me, no idea what to do at this stage. Yeah. And then I met a guy afterwards, some guy came up, busted me at the stage door, and said, that was great. I said, you're fucking kidding me. That was an absolute nightmare. That was the worst gig ever. He goes, no. I said, but none of you said anything. So that's the way we like it in Sheffield. We want to hear you speak. We don't want to talk. Apparently in Sheffield, I don't know if any here from Sheffield, this is a general trait, but this is the way the guy told it to me. When bands go to Sheffield and do that thing where they go, and then turn the mic to the crowd just look at them and they kind of, you're the singer, you put the singer on. So that is the toughest thing. When the audience don't, like if we stood here and nobody asked questions, that's the bit that's, you know, because it's more fun messing around.
How do you deal with hecklers?
I don't pause for breath at any stage when I talk, so it's surprisingly difficult for hecklers to get in. You may have spotted that, those of you who are foreign language students who come over here and are bewildered by why you're all looking at a man who doesn't have a right? I don't really get that many hecklers. And you also, if you're doing your own tour, who goes online, buys tickets, arranges a night out, gets dressed up, gets the tickets 6 months in advance, pins them up in the fridge with a magnet, takes them down and then goes on, I walk out and they go, get off your shit! It'd be a weird thing to do. But it is, what you do is basically you own them. Or I suppose these days you pwn them. Not pwn. Sorry. But you own them. You basically take whatever they said and you grow larger. In your own head, this is it. There's a bit where something turns into a dragon and Shrek. You're kind of do that. You kind of just go like that over them. And it's not that there's a line, not like, I don't go to your place of work and, knock the cocks out of your mouth. Is the end of that standard line. I've never heard that. Sorry. That's surely not the time that this room has heard that phrase. Surely a most debating hall, like here in Cambridge Union, has heard the words, knock the cocks out of your mouth at some stage in its 4,000-year history. Surely Poe, or that guy, or your man in the wing. Surely someone look, those are kind of like, there's loads of those, the best of all was Ross Noble. I don't think he invented it, but it was a very, very nice one, which is really old, which is some guy which you're fat, because he was quite chubby at the time, which is your guy. That's because every time I fuck your mother, she gives me a biscuit. It's a really old line, but there are people have those, I don't. You just better to work in a situation today where you just own the room. If you're owning the room, it's very difficult for people to get a word in against you. You're definitely there.
What do you think of your American counterpart shows like Colbert Report and the Daily Show?
It's utterly stunning, incredibly good. People have a tendency to underestimate just the level and degree of talent that they have at their disposal there in terms of the writing staff. Like, basically, in America, you go and you're writing Onion for 5 years, and then you go from there to the Colbert Report and the Daily Show. So there's a massive team of people, but they're fantastically good. There would never be, you don't have, and it doesn't have from Ireland, which again is a smaller pool again. So I've taken the leap for it. I regard working in the BBC is a tremendous luxury as opposed to back in Ireland where it's like the pan with the McDonald's and things like that. Yeah, they're great day with like shoestring stuff, right? And it's just making the stuff up. They have phenomenal people there. I mean, it's just a joy to watch that person work. So whether you could do that kind of thing here, probably not. What they don't do is what you do here, which is essentially the panel shows. And in America, it's a weird tradition thing that the US likes its comics either pretending to be reporters or being chat shows. That's the way they want their comics. Here, you want your comics either doing like a lively hall type stuff or more often than not, sitting around a table pretending to play games. In fact, it's one thing I didn't put into, it's one of the weird things. Why do you like your comedy in this country delivered to you with points? I've got to hand out points, right? And people genuinely email me or Twitter me going, why, if you give all of the points during the rounds to Andy's team, did you and Frankie's team win at the end? That's possible. For the points to be still, there are no points. There are no rounds, no games. It's just that you love that. You need that. You need it to be pretended to be a game. You need it part of the game kind of thing. So there are different traditions, and they need different things. In America, there's a comparison to the two comedy worlds anyway. In America, as a standard, you wouldn't get to do what I do. You wouldn't get to rarely get to this level where you're doing 2-hour shows travelling around, right? The big guys do, or you stay in clubs, and it's a very dispiriting life going from Austin to wherever. You go around different cities in America. It's a bit anonymous as a thing. Here, obviously, because of these theatres, you can tour and build yourself up for long shows. In America, if you're living in LA, it's all about developing a stance in your 10-minute set that will get you cast as the good-looking actor's best friend. And it's disappointing. Like Sarah Silverman's a perfect example. The Sarah Silverman, who is a brilliant stand-up in movies, is freaky girlfriend to Jack Black's mate, that kind of stuff. And it's irritating. It's not held in the same. Just standing up and telling you isn't held in the same regard in LA in particular. In New York, they all work together. But they're brilliant. They're superb. They're without parallel. Yourself.
On time about Seth Lane and Nico.
Good for Margaret. She needs to push the show. Cambridge.
Cambridge, I was also a Cambridge person.
Well, she needs to push the show. Now, we've done a thing there. May have lost one or two of you after your junior cert Irish. That's another thing, by the way, and there's nothing to do with the book. Stop calling it Gaelic. Right? We don't call it Gaelic, right? Why do you insist that it's Irish is the language? We have Irish, what do you got left? Irish. What exam do you got coming up? Well, I've got English and then Irish. No one says Gaelic in Ireland, but over here we have to change the name of our fucking language. You don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Read the great show. There was a team once, that was obviously the next one. Was there a question or a question? Oh yeah, can I get it? Sorry.
How do you feel about Des Bishop being the first stand-up to ever do a gig in Irish?
That's good, yeah, Des Bishop and Irish. None of you get points. We'll do it to it. Yeah, go on.
I thought on guest list I'd done Corn Exchange Special Order.
Oh, cheeky fucker. Basically, yeah, first year was but Queenie there, that was basically he figured out any chance to get into a game. Yeah, all right, that's what happened there. Horse trading went on there in Irish. So he's a great little bit of culture you got there. You don't want to do what we said. Thank you very much. Yourself.
Who's your favourite panellist and what movie?
Anyway, my least favourite. They all bring different things. I think when Frankie goes, Russell will be the winner. Frankie was the winner. I think Russell will be the winner. I think there's a kind of a balance of talents that were going on. On a personal level, the one that close to his friend or Ed or Andy would probably be the people I'm best mates with. But I think Russell has kind of grabbed it and ran with it to a huge extent. Other than that, Mitchell. Dave Mitchell is phenomenal and very, very good, and one of the more greater alchemists of the comic, because he will take something and run with it and make it stunt. So Mitchell is always a joy to work with, not least because Mitchell drinks as heavily as I do. And Mitchell and I always hang out after. So yeah, probably the best. Ed, Mitchell, and then any of the others. But I think you'll see in the next season that Russell will become more, not necessarily dominant, but he's more of a worker with people than Frankie was. But I think you'll hear more of him yet more of in the next yourself. We've got one last question, and the pressure on whoever has their hands on. It's going to be gold, my friend. It's going to be spectacular.
How did you get started in who you influences?
How do you get started? You get started with comedy. Comedy's very easy. We'll have one more after that because I think we stand a while better. Eddie Izzard was a massive one. Eddie Izzard was, cut from the same comedy DNA. You're familiar with Eddie Izzard, right? Yeah. But Eddie Izzard, brilliant. And you get started by doing debates, how I started, in a room not as pretty as this, but with the same gist. I was also bricking a tux. Actually, with respect. But you know what I mean? The only funny laugh is how much the rest of the student body talked about, you guys winding around the place in your tuxedo. Well, information. But would you not say, promotion as it stands before us? I did all that stuff, right? And it led me to this. Comedy's a remarkably easy trade to get into in terms of how you start. You just do an open spot game. Those people drive up the wall, people go, my husband has always dreamed of being a comedian, as if there's some entrance level requirement, or there's something. You just go to an open spot line with a sheet of paper and some jokes, and you do those jokes. It is ludicrously democratic and meritocratic to get into doing comedy. So, yeah, very easy to do. Yes? Who influenced you? Oh, Eddie Izzard was a massive one, Bill Paley, and then anyone I was working with really at the time. And then the problem is you don't influence too much, you want to find your own voice as quickly as possible. But when you're working as a comic, you work with different comics all the time. So you actually get to see loads of different people. One more, just for the fact that I'll do biography. Yourself.
What's the best or craziest thing that you did while you were at university?
So the best thing at the university, I had a reputation for breaking into the university. Because UCD is one of this large buildings. And I was kind of I got involved in a lot of things. I founded a newspaper over there and ran a debating society and did a load of stuff. University, this may turn like the mesh goes at the very end. You have a glorious opportunity when you're here, from 3 or 4 years, whatever time you spend here, to try out as many different things as possible, whether it's making films or working as a journalist or organising events. You get a chance here with very little risk to try out loads of different things, and I grabbed that as much as I could. So I was involved in publications, I was involved in making videos and films, I was involved in debating, and I was involved in all sorts of stuff, as much as I could. To the detriment massively of my academic career. It was pretty obvious I wasn't going to be the next Einstein. So I kind of went and stuck the marrow out of every possible thing I could. But I did have a tendency, myself and some friends who were always in the university late at night doing our little organisation stuff, to break into buildings and write up people's experiments incorrectly, or sit drinking on top of the chapel roof, or steal pineapple chunks from the canteen. That was there was a lot. The best university thing in UC there was a hurling team in Irish University, and hurling. Are you familiar with the sport of hurling? Yeah, hurling is a 1,000-year-old sport. It's played by ancient Irish warriors. It's a legendary status of it, right? So the UCD hurling team one night got hammered and thought, fuck it, this is a heroic game. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, they stripped off and played a game of hurling naked on the field, as it would have been played 5,000 years ago. And then UCD security drove up in these all-terrain vehicles up on through the pitches when they heard and saw people play naked hurling, and they all ran into the woods. I wasn't part of that, but if you can let people think that I was. Somewhere during my university education, I used to stride through the village with only a hurley in my hand, my bits waving in the wind, just thinking, this, my friend, this is college life. If you can in any way top that, please go out and do it, because you can give it a glorious opportunity, not least, here, which is one of the world's most august seats of learning, and you'll be given a glorious opportunity. Get to do as much as possible, right? Do as many things, drop in on things, see things, try things, as much as you can for the few years, because it's just, the inertia kicks in. It's much more difficult to do that when you're a little bit older, right? I say this in the full knowledge, and I can temper that inspirational speech by going, very few of us are going to survive the current bug that we're passing around. But for those of you who make it to the post-apocalyptic world, right? That world will need doctors, that world will need people to bury the dead, to begin again, right? Some of you, particularly the ones on the balcony, you'll probably make it out healthier. Go with that. That's the only message I can say. When the zombies attack, please take this message to future generations that we fought the zombies, right? But now we are zombies. It's been an absolute pleasure, Madai. Thank you very much.